I first came into contact with the then all-new Mercedes-Benz GLB at the international launch event 3 years ago, almost exactly. And as the rain starts to fall, obviously. Look, I'm honestly going to say that I fell in love with this small SUV for the packaging and specifically for the styling. I mean, it doesn't look like a softish GLC or even a GLE. It's got real G in its visual DNA. I mean, it's like a shrunken version of the GLS with just a hint of G-Wagon mixed in. And the only version I got to drive at the time was the GLB 250, which is the base version. But this one, my friends, this, as you can definitely tell, oh, I hope the wind doesn't pick up too much, that this is not just a regular GLB 250. No, it's got a turbo badge on the side, and it's got big wheels and a skirt kit and all of that. No, this is the GLB 35, and there's just something about AMG's smaller vehicles that speaks volumes to me. Like the A35, which I loved, and the CLA 35 and 45, which were just insane. The GLB 35 has so much personality, has so much pizzazz, is so electrifying that it's almost at odds with what you expect from Mercedes-Benz. And that's probably the main reason why I love this small SUV so much. There are a few issues, as you would expect, and that's my job. I have to point these out. One of them is pricing and features, because Mercedes-Benz still insists on giving you less for more. I mean, in some respects that works, but in the case of a small premium SUV, especially when you consider, the competition, be it from mainstream brands or other premium brands, it's not exactly a formula that works, but this AMG 35 formula works incredibly well. So in the following video, I'm going to do a tour of my fully loaded 2022, yeah, it's a 23 pricing is already out, but anyway, Mercedes AMG GLB 35, and then I'm going to take it for a very spirited and noisy and fun drive. So here we go. Okay, so I kind of just touched on the styling, and I mean, it's just superb. I love how upright the rear hatch is, how flat the roofline is. It's a real SUV as far as I'm concerned. Oh, and while I'm here, just to give you an idea, like size-wise, it's a lot bigger than you think. The total length is 4.65 meters long. The GLC is 4.67 meters long. So it's essentially, they have the same footprint, give or take. The GLE, though, is about 30 centimeters longer, so that does make a considerable difference. But look, this SUV, no matter how you look at it, there is no bad angle. It just looks great in every way. And this galaxy blue color optional, it just really highlights the black trim from the AMG body package. It's just superb. Oh, stupid rain. It's almost tragic that there aren't more of these on the road, which is another odd thing to say, because I mean, the GLC, there's so many deals to be made, but the GLB, well, it's more like it's an exclusive SUV is what it is, far more in my opinion than a GLC. Okay, so pricing, 2023 pricing, as I said, is already out. So $48,900 for the base 250. In Canada, for the 35, it starts at $61,700. In the US, 2022 pricing is out, and it's much lower because you can only get a two-wheel drive base of the 250, $38,600. $49,950 if you step up to the 35. Now, this priced 2022 starts at $59,300. The level of equipment is, well, fairly basic. I mean, heated front seats, power driver seats, keyless entry and start, twin 10.25-inch displays, That's about it. I mean, everything else is stuff you absolutely have to get in one of these SUVs. As I said, my tester has a lot of options. It's got the premium package, which gives you Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and a power hatch. Yeah, you got to pay extra for that. It's got the AMG driver package, which gives you the drive unit controls on the steering wheel. I'll show that to you in a few moments. Navigation package, and so much more, including these sublime 21-inch wheels. For a grand total, as it sits right here, of about $75,000 for 2023 money. $75,000. But this is an exclusive. This is going to be a rare piece. Potentially something that may appreciate in the future. Although, anyway, we don't know about that. Okay, so let's continue the tour. Oh, and another thing too. Boot space. So according to Benz, according to Benz, this is about 700 liters of space, and I have to believe it. There's a lot of storage under the floor. I mean, the lower position can actually slide, and you can lower the floor level here. Why aren't you focusing? Come on. All right, so compared to a GLC, you only get 550 liters, give or take. So this has got more trunk space. Oh, and there's an optional third row that you can throw in there, which my tester thankfully does not have. Look at the amount of legroom. It's insane. And the opening, this is a better SUV than the GLC, right? It's more SUV-like. Look at the amount of legroom I have back here, and the headroom is enormous. I don't know why I'm doing that. No, it doesn't matter. Okay. Yeah, this is suede, red stitching. It's beautiful. That's your typical Benz stuff that you have to expect. Simple, though still premium enough. There's your twin 10.25 screens. Let's just slide in the board. Start it up. Still with the stock, I love it. Leaves a lot of room down here, as I've been reminded. Oh yeah, I'll tell you right now. So this is the drive unit. So you can individually set, is it me or is it not focusing? So you can individually set the transmission to either drive or manual, the ESP, and here's your drive modes. So I'll just make it show up here. No, actually, sorry, right here. So there are your 4 drive modes, and individual is configured as you would expect. And I'll tell you more about that in a few seconds, but the interior is beautiful. These vents are just spectacular, even after all these years. It looks really, really good. Though I must say that the plastic, I mean, it's not the fanciest stuff, but this is not the fanciest SUV. The seats are very supportive, and they look great to boot. There isn't much else to say here other than visibility isn't as good as I probably remembered or would like it to be. But it doesn't really matter. I think it's time to go for a spin right now. Column shifter. I didn't show you how the MBUX works because, well, essentially it's unchanged or has been for a number of years. It's it's very functional. I was going to say fairly functional, but no, it's very functional. I mean, the menus glide. It's very intuitive. There isn't essentially anything wrong with it per se, and the learning curve isn't that sharp, so it works out quite nicely. You probably can't, well, I'm not, you may have heard that. That's what I mean by personality in this thing. I mean, it's so un-Mercedes-Benz and it's so AMG that it's almost comical in how it behaves. So first, the lesser good stuff. Okay, so your default drive mode is comfort. And I'm going to put it in comfort. There we go. The biggest issue with comfort, oh my goodness, I can't take it, is immediate. That was my tripod. The problem is the 8-speed dual clutch automatic transmission in comfort is about as quick as paint drying. It is so irritating to wait for it once you gently roll onto the throttle, even if you're a little bit more aggressive. Point is that you can adapt to it in time, I suppose. But the best option is, if you want to avoid being in sports, is configuring your individual. Now, I didn't show you what I've done exactly, but I have the drive in, there's 4 different, in fact: reduced, moderate, sport, dynamic. Reduced being probably eco. I have that in sport. And the transmission is, there's no sport mode specifically for the transmission, so it's manual or automatic. And I just got out of that. And then, yeah, so then there's the dynamics. So advanced or basic. So I have the chassis, essentially how everything responds. That's in advanced because I like to drive. And the suspension. Now, that's what's interesting with this vehicle, is that you have adjustable dampers. You have 3 settings: comfort, sport, sport plus. By far, comfort is the way to go. So you have the combination, your typical combination of where you want maybe inputs, throttle inputs, steering inputs to be a little bit sharper, but you want the suspension to do the exact opposite. You want it to be a little bit more satisfyingly, that's so good. The difference is incredible. When you have the drive, the throttle response, along with the transmission, set up in something a little sportier than comfort, I honestly haven't even tried reduced, because I don't think I could tolerate the molasses moving so slowly. I don't know what I'm saying. It's just I need to feel something, because it's an AMG and it needs to respond. And so as spec, individual is just perfect. Of course, in my setting, understandably. And then, yeah, there it is. That turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, 302 horsepower at 5,800 RPM, 295 pound-feet of torque from 3,000 to 4,000 RPM. I mean, despite this thing weighing, 1,800 kilos, so what is that, almost 4,000 pounds, almost 3,900 pounds? This thing will launch to 100 kilometers an hour from a standstill in 5.3 seconds, which is fairly, actually, it's very quick. When you consider, what it is, the size, and the fact that it's just a 35. But, yeah. Oh, and the sound. Oh, and the DSG comes alive. DSG, oops, dual clutch transmission. Oops. Wow, it pounds away at the gears. And like any good dual clutch transmission, it prefers being beaten on, but it's just as happy, gliding from gear to gear, being a good transmission in an urban setting where you don't want to upset your neighbors and, sprint from street light to street. Point is that it's a great transmission. It just cannot be allowed to remain in comfort or reduced or anything like that. It has to be primed before driving off. With the adjustable dampers even set in comfort, I mean, steering is lovely, and I'm on massive 21-inch Michelin winter tires. I can't imagine what those must cost. But everything, the response is great. The ride quality is good, but there's a fizz to the driving. There's character, there's personality involved here, and it's like tightly wound, but not oppressively so. It's just so fun. It's so unbends, but so AMG. Again, 35 and 45s with the 4-cylinder engines. There aren't that many options, interestingly. Yes, you can get, say, an X3M, but or even an M40 would be close, but it's still so much more, I don't know, it's trying to be more than what it needs to be, whereas this, it's fun. It's like letting your hair down. Oh, it's so fun. It must be the sizing and the styling, the combination of the two that just make me adore this SUV. And I do like the X3, kind of, the SQ5 is fine, but both are grown up, premium, sporty, and it could be an M40, I think I said that already, compared to the SQ5s, it's a closer match. But although I do like the GLC 43, for the same money, I guess, you get less power. It's about as quick. I think maybe the GLC is a little quicker because it's not that much heavier. but it doesn't feel this way. It's not alive. That's why this is going to be such an exclusive and rare SUV, because it doesn't fit your premium performance SUV mold like the smaller ones. I mean, unless Audi comes out with an SQ3, then maybe that would compete with this. Otherwise, this thing is unique. I absolutely love it. And we're talking full petrol here, nothing hybrid. That's it. I'm done.